Hello, this is going to be my first video journal entry, and I'm going to be talking about the different discussions and readings that I've done so far for the class. So first I'll talk about the discussions. The discussions have been really enjoyable for me. We've done the timeline and the video, and I've really loved all the information that I've gotten from that. So for the first discussion, I did the East-West Manila to Acapulco trade. This talked about the importance of the Manila Galleon ships and how they not only transported people, but they also transported ideas, culture, and different things like that across many different areas. This trade system allowed Asia and the New World to connect in a way like never before, which was kind of, needed for these different groups of people to become diversified with each other. Now, people on these ships were not treated the best, and that is a common theme throughout all of these readings. The second discussion that I did was over Chinese labor in the Transcontinental Railroad. So many Chinese immigrants had come over to be miners in search of the Gold Mountain, but there were not job opportunities for that anymore. So they went and they worked for railroad companies. And there were two different railroad companies, and they were actually competing to see who could build more track and be like the better company and make more money. So along the way, these Asian immigrants were mistreated, killed, displaced, and really were not treated well, even though they did most of the work. In the readings, it had stated that 90% of the workforce was actually Chinese. So they did most of the work on the Transcontinental Railroad. When the railroad was completed, the picture was taken, and none of these Asian immigrants were pictured. And they were replaced with new immigrants that were willing to work for low wages. And they were honestly forgotten throughout the whole process. The latest thing that I did my discussion post over was the 1904 World's Fair and the exhibition of the Igorot people. This video followed the story of a boy named Antero Cabrera. He was an Igorot boy, and with the education provided, he became a really good student, and he got to come with America with several other Igorot people. Now, they were put in this exhibit like zoo animals. It was a replica of what their village was supposed to be, and they were forced to do things that wasn't a part of their like daily routine. But Antero stuck it out, and he took note on how to make a better life. He actually stayed in America, got a wife, and he started making money. And when he went back to his home, he put on this fictional front to try and save his family from his turmoils. In the end, he became pretty successful, and his descendants actually made a name for themselves in the United States. So those are the discussions that I've done so far. I've really, really enjoyed them, and they've taught me so much more than I ever knew before. Now I'll be talking about the readings. So throughout these readings, I've learned a lot. So chapter 1 was like an introductory chapter, kind of getting informed about things, about early Asian American history. I found this really beneficial for me, as I've never really studied the Asian American culture or history before, so I found it really helpful for me. The second chapter was about coolies. Coolies were like indentured laborers. They were often mistreated, treated like objects, weren't really on the same status as actual people. They were really just there for their labor. Nobody really cared, and they mistreated many of these coolies. The next chapter was about Chinese immigrants in search of the Gold Mountain. This one was really kind of cool because this went into the Transcontinental Railroad, and that is a topic that I have found really, really interesting, to me at least. And it also talked about the Chinese Exclusion Acts, which many Asian American exclusion acts happened. They just happened in different times. So it's kind of crazy to see, you know, these exclusion acts and how horrible these people were treated. Okay, chapter 4 was about the anti-Chinese movement. So there were many newspapers that would publish pictures or articles talking about how bad Chinese people were, and that really fueled people to be anti-Chinese, even though they really did nothing wrong. There was a crazy amount of people that entered the United States, and many American citizens kind of took that as a threat, so they wanted to get them out of there. And the last chapter I read was Japanese Immigrants in the Yellow Peril. I really found the last half of the chapter really informational and kind of crazy. The German Kaiser, he had a dream and he put it to a painting, and that caused all sorts of madness as people became anti-Japanese. They started, rioting against them and kind of making them feel very unwelcome. But something crazy that I did find really interesting in this chapter was the Japanese involvement with agriculture. I personally want to go into an agriculture field, so seeing how successful they were, even with the setbacks that they had, was really inspirational, and it kind of helped me to understand where some of those crops came from. Now I will be talking about the keywords. The keywords have been really informational, as I've said about a lot of the other stuff. I've definitely had to read them several times to understand what they're saying, but I've taken thorough notes and read through them multiple times, and really got the understanding of what the word means, not only to Asian American history, but in the present day, what does that mean for everyone else? Overall, through the discussions, the readings, the video posts, the keywords, it has helped me learn a lot, and I really wanted to learn about a culture unlike my own. So taking this class and having the opportunity to have these resources and to be able to access them whenever I would like is really beneficial to me. And I have learned not only historical knowledge about Asian Americans, but I can also empathize with where they're coming from. And I can also have an informed conversation about these different topics, and I'll be knowledgeable about them. So really, throughout all these things, I have learned so much. I'm so ready to learn more and have gained a greater appreciation for Asian American history, culture, and the study of it. Thank you.